Hello, good morning. Hello, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? Can you see my screen? If you can, please type in hi in the comment section so that I can confirm we are all on the same page. Okay, Carrie, thank you very much for that confirmation. Last 241. Okay, thank you. 603, good morning. Good morning, Anita. Nitty Wise, good morning. All right. Oh, 584. Thank you very much. Good morning. All right. Since we've confirmed that we are good to go, so let's kickstart the session. And once again, I welcome you all to yet another promising session of Extra Speed Life, hosted by my humble self, Sheriff Daramola. And as usual, I will be taking you on a trading journey where we will be evaluating the financial market using various technical parameters to identify trading opportunities lining up for us during the New York session today. However, we will first of all have to look at what we deliberated on yesterday. We actually had some pairs we looked at yesterday. We are going to be looking at the pairs. I think we have like 6 pairs to run through, and we're going to be looking at the pairs and how well they are doing so far, after which we will be preparing ourselves against any sort of possibilities lining up from that pair during the New York session. And in addition to that, if you have any pair you want us to look at, feel free to drop it in the comment section, and I will try as much as possible to inculcate it into my plans for today. So without further ado, let's dive into the chart and let's see what is happening. So as usual, the first pair we are going to be taking is the US oil. And what do we have here? Well, remember yesterday I told you how the breakdown of that structure here, hold on a second. I told you how the breakdown of the structure here changed our perspective of a bullish momentum, as that breakdown was very significant, as we saw it strike through the demand zone to close right below the structure we were calling our demand structure. And one thing I said here yesterday was that we should remain patient, as we want to see price give us further confirmation, and that confirmation should come in form of a retest of the previous structure. And what are we having here? We are seeing price back into the $89 level, which was our neckline that we were expecting a breakout of for a bullish momentum on Monday. Remember, on Monday, is it Monday or Tuesday, we were expecting this breakout retest of structure to join the rally to the upside, and that did not, though we had the breakout. But unfortunately, price, we were taken out of our position as price went all the way down, breaking down that bullish trend line that was supposed to be guiding us to the upside. So right now, price is right back within the $89 level. Now, what is going to be our plan going forward? So what do we plan doing as we head into the New York session today? Now, let's look at the structure critically, and let's extend this $89 level a little further, and let's see if this $89 level is still going to serve us for today. So we have this $9 level there, and I would like to delete this one as it is no longer relevant. And then we still have this demand zone. Let's extend it a little bit into the structure here. So now, if we look at the structure we have here, and considering the fact that this area has been a strong demand niche in the past. Let me show you what I mean here. Let's scale up a little into the daily time frame and let's see what we have here on the daily time frame. Remember, I shared this time frame with you on Monday where I pointed out how this level has been a major determinant for buyers in the market in the past. This happened in February, and we saw how what happened afterwards. We saw our price was pushed to the upside to as high as the $129 area, and right now price is back within that zone. So considering that price is within the zone, definitely I've been telling you since Monday that we want to be looking for a bullish momentum. But when we saw the breakdown that happened during the course of Tuesday trading session, then we begin to doubt our expectation. But right now we're having a structure here that shows that in the last couple of days now we can see how the volume has reduced. Look at these two candles here. We can see that they weren't really that massive. It wasn't an engulfing candle. And then the next one that happened yesterday looks more like a doji candle, giving us something like an indecision in the market, telling us that sellers are probably losing the momentum at this point in time. And if we look at what happened during the early hours of today, we can see how this move has been going to the upside. It looks more like an engulfing candle, but we can conclude that is right now because this candle is still about 13 hours old, and we still need to see this candle to close to be able to be sure that this is an engulfing candle. But right now we are going into the New York session. Are we just going to wait for this candle to close before we could take advantage of any move during the New York session today? Well, we will need to scale down to a much lower time frame to see what is actually happening at that point. So let's go back to our 1 hour time frame and let's see what structure we have here. Now going back to the 1 hour time frame, and we now understand that this area has been a major determinant of price action for buyers in the market. So one thing I want to be doing is to identify what is going on within the structure here. In the last how many hours? I think in the last 24 to 48 hours we've been witnessing this consolidation phase, giving us a clue into the indecision in this market. So what I want to be doing at this point is to identify the structure, and what we'll be doing is to bring out our line chart and let's see what we have here. Then if we bring out our trend line and we connect this point and this point together, hold on a second, there's one here I want to connect. All right, so we're trying to identify what is actually happening within this consolidation phase here. So look at what we have here right now. We have, let's make some readjustment to this on our candle chart. Then we have, so what we see here is more or less like a reversal pattern after identifying that structure. And let me show you what I mean here. Following this impulsive move from this point to this area, what do we see here? We saw something that looks like a double bottom structure, and price consolidated around that trend line before we finally saw a breakout of structure in the last couple of hours. And right now, since we already have a breakout of structure, that gives us a signal that we might be going on a bullish momentum from this point. However, because we see a signal, remember, we're not getting too excited at the sight of a signal, as we want to wait for further confirmation before we can join this rally. And so what are we going to be looking forward to this New York session? Well, it's simple. What we are going to be looking forward to is a possible price coming back to do a retest of structure in the form of probably the trend line we just identified here, or somewhere around here. But most importantly, what we want to be looking forward to is a reversal pattern on lower time frame to give us further confirmation that this is actually a confirmed reversal pattern. So then we take a breakout of structure on lower time frame to join the rally to the upside. So this is what we are going to be looking forward to on the US oil. And you might be saying that we have been on a bearish momentum since the beginning of the month. Well, that's true, But one thing we want to take into consideration is this area where price has been doing a consolidation phase. I see this area, and remember when I showed you on the daily time frame, it appears we are on a very strong demand structure that has a memory of a buying power. So right now, because we have that area, we were able to identify the structure here, which looks very much like a reversal pattern. And then luckily for us, we were able to see a signal during the early hours of today in the form of a breakout of that structure, that giving us a clue of a possible bullish momentum at this point. Now that we have this information at the back of our mind, to make things a lot easier for us, we need to readjust our key level to guide our action going forward. So what we're going to be doing here is to bring out our line chart so that we can have a precise point of connection. And if we do that, it looks like around the $88 area seems most appropriate to place this point. So let's label this point, and let's re-identify this level. So we have it sitting right at the $88 level, and this is, and if you might be asking me why are we having a key level right around this area? Well, that is simple. Let's zoom in to see what is actually happening here. Hold on a second. Somewhere around here. Hold on. Okay, so let's see what is happening here. What is happening really is this. If you look far left, we can see how this level has been a major determinant of price action. Look at how it has been a demand niche for participants in this market. We had one here, we had one around this point. We saw this sharp rejection before this breakdown happened, and then price came back into this area to give this point, making this point a neckline of this reversal pattern that we saw here, the double bottom structure here. We saw multiple rejection. You can see the wick at this point. Then we finally saw the breakout of that structure. So looking at this and look at this area, it was a selling niche here. Then we saw a breakout again. It became a demand niche at this point. Then we saw that engulfing candle that took us out of all the selling position lining around this point. So if you will agree with me that this point has been a major determinant of price action in the past. So with this information now, what we are waiting for is a retest of structure. And remember, the retest of structure is likely going to be a retest of this bearish trend line, or price could still come as far as the $88 level, where most importantly what we are looking for is a reversal pattern around this area on the lower time frame. So around this area here, we want to be seeing a reversal pattern to join the rally to the upside. So this is my perspective here on the US oil. If you have any questions, feel free to drop in a comment in the comment section so that we can take a quick look at it and see if I can be of help. Then where will our take profit target be here? If we look at the structure we have here since the beginning of the month, let's go to the 4 hours time frame and let's see what we have. Going to the 4 hours time frame, we can see how we have a structure guiding us since the month of July. We were able to connect the series of lower highs, and we were able to identify this resulting bearish trend line. And what we want to be doing going forward is to see how price is going to relate with that bearish trend line this time around this point. Are we going to be having, hold on a second, let me show you what I'm talking about here. Are we going to be having a breakout of this bearish trend line with the intention of price doing a continuation to the upside, or is there going to be a reversal pattern under this area where price is going to be doing a respect of this bearish trend line one more time? So that we don't know yet, but one thing I'll be saying at this point is that our take profit target should lie around the bearish trend line area. Hold on a second, let's see, let me reset this. So our take profit target should lie around the bearish trend line area, which is within the $90 and the $93 area. Somewhere around here should be okay for our take profit target after which we are going to see how price is going to relate with this level, that is a breakout or a reversal pattern right below that level. So that is going to give us about how many pips that is. Let's see, that will give you approximately 300 to 350 pips to catch here if price, even as close as 400 pips to catch here if price moves accordingly. So on this note, I'm expecting a bullish momentum on the US oil, so let's wait and see how price action is going to play out during the New York session. So if you have any question whatsoever, feel free to drop it in the comment section. I will be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to run through the comment section to see if there are any questions whatsoever in this regard. So let's see. Okay, good morning. All right. Okay, hello to 80, good morning to you. 10312, hi. Halipa, hello, good morning. Hey, 359, good morning to you. How are you doing this morning? I'm glad to see you around. Just 10, okay, hello again. All right, you're welcome. Ashitaka saying oil sell now. Well, I'm not still sure of a sell on oil. Like I said, if you are with me since the beginning of the session, I told you how we are on a very strong demand zone. Let me show you what we have here on the higher time frame. Price is right on a very strong demand zone at this point. If we look left, we can go as far back as the month of February, where we saw structures that support a bullish momentum right from this point. You can see what happened in the month of February, and price moved significantly well. And right now you can see how price is right back within that zone. And if we look at the structure since the beginning of the month, you can see how price has been rejecting that zone, giving us a clue into the strength of the buyers at this juncture in this market. And because of this structure we have here, we need to be very, very careful not to jump into an unnecessary trade on this one. And if we scale back down to the 1 hour time frame, what you're going to see here is more, you can see what happened here in the last 48 hours. We can see how price has been caught up within a consolidation phase here, turning out to become a reversal pattern in the form of a double bottom structure, giving us a clue into a possible reversal expectation here on the US oil. And what do we see here after the reversal pattern was formed? We saw a significant breakout of that structure during the early hours of today, giving us an engulfing bullish candle to give us a signal of a formidable reversal pattern that could be forming any point from now. So right now we already have a signal in the form of a breakout of structure at this point, with a neckline at around the $88 level. So what I'm saying here is that we should wait for price action to give us further confirmation to join the rally, and that is going to be a retest of either the trend line here or probably the $88 level, where we are going to be looking for patterns on lower time frame to support a trend continuation to the upside. And I told you the take profit target should fall around the bearish trend line here, which is between the $91 area and the $93 area at this point, dovetaling to about 300 to 350 pips to catch here if price moves in that direction. So what I'm suggesting here is that based on the current structure, we might be looking forward to a bullish momentum in the later part of the week. So let's see how price action plays out. I hope I made myself clear. And okay, 359, okay, I'm glad you are fine. And then who else? Okay, I think there is no other question, so I'll suggest that at this point we need to move on to the next pair. And what is our next pair here? The next pair we're going to be deliberating on is the US tech. So what's happening on the US tech? Well, have you been enjoying the move here on the US tech? Okay, let's see what is happening, and let me share with you what our perspective was yesterday first before we move on into our expectation for today. So the first thing we observed here on the US tech is that price action has been on a very strong bullish momentum on the higher time frame. Definitely, that's very obvious. And one thing we saw was that we saw this bullish move. We actually took advantage of that move right into this level. I think we took about 400 pips here on Monday stroke Tuesday. And what we observed that makes the structure very interesting is that we saw as soon as price tested the $13,750 area, we saw multiple rejection of this level, giving us a clue into the strength of the sellers at this point in time. And if we look at the structure around this point, around this area, it's look more like a reversal pattern. And this is going to be very clear if we scale down to a lower time frame, like let's say the 1 hour time frame, for instance. And if you look at the structure, it looks exactly like a double top structure. We saw the first retest, price came back down into our neckline, then we saw the second retest of structure, and boom, price broke down our neckline at 13,550 to give us that signal of the bearish momentum we are looking for on the US tech. So let's scale back to the 4 hours time frame where we were before, and here what did we see? Like I told you yesterday, especially for those who love taking long-term trade, I told you that if we see a breakdown of this neckline at $13,550 level, then we should be getting ready to join at a retest of structure. And lo and behold, what happened? We saw an immediate retest of structure during the later part of I think during the New York session yesterday, we saw the sharp rejection of that level, and we'll have taken advantage of this move to the downside. And currently price moved about how many pips in our favor? About close to 180 pips in our favor before we started seeing this retracement move to the upside. Definitely at this point you would have locked in some profit or probably moved your stop loss to break even to protect your running position at this point. Now that we are heading into the New York session, what is going to be our plan, and how do we intend taking advantage of any opportunity here on the US tech? Now on the daily time frame, we already have a breakdown retest of that neckline at $13,550 level, and currently we are seeing structures that looks like a reversal pattern around this point. As you can see, around the 13,400 level, we have seen multiple rejection happening here in the last 15 to 18 hours on this one. I think, how many hours is that? 1 2 3 4 5, that's around 20 to 20 hours, 18 to 20 hours. And honestly, so now that we have this structure, this is a signal, and we want to know what is really happening at this point. So what we're going to be doing now is to scale down to a much lower time frame, and let's say the 1 hour time frame, to see what is really happening here. So like I said, you would have moved your stop loss to break even at this point to protect your position against unnecessary pullback that could happen at this point, considering the fact that we are on a very strong long-term bullish momentum. Right now on the 1 hour time frame, what we want to be doing here is this. We can see as soon as price tested the $13,730 areas, we saw that price has continued to find lower lows and lower high. And with this scenario here, what we are going to be doing is to connect the series of lower highs as a yardstick for us to guide our action during the New York session. So what I'll be doing at this point is to bring out our line chart at this point, and then let's run the connector series of lower highs. And what do we have here? We have something like this. Hold on a second, we are still going to make some adjustments on the candle chart. So let's first of all do this on the line chart, then we bring out our candle chart at this point, and we have let's readjust to something like this. So we have a structure right around this area. So going into the New York sessions now, we have two parameters that will guide our action going forward. So the first parameter is the neckline, which is the key level at $13,550. Remember, this is the neckline of the reversal pattern we identified here, and then we saw the breakdown of the reversal pattern around this point. We saw a breakdown of the reversal pattern here, then we saw a retest of the neckline here, and what do we have? Now that's the first parameter. Then the second parameter is the bearish trend line that we were able to identify at this point. So one thing I'm looking forward to is that this bearish trend line at the key level shall be our yardstick. So if we see price right above this level, then we are sure that we are definitely having a momentum shift, as if a breakout of this level happens, then it's likely we are going bullish on this one. But remember, we are not getting too excited, as we'll be waiting for price action to give us a retest of structure, where we look out for reversal patterns on lower time frame to join the rally to the upside. That is one scenario. But since we have a reversal pattern here, and we have a bearish trend line after connecting the series of lower highs, what I want to be looking for is further retest of this bearish trend line to push price to the downside. So if you are in this trade already, like I said, move your stop loss to break even. And if you are not in this trade, you want to be looking for reversal patterns around this area on lower time frame to join the decline to the downside. So the bearish trend line here remains our yardstick going into the New York session. And since we already have a structure at this point that is around the 13,400 level, we can see the structure here that has been a demand niche in the last 24 hours. So what I'll be saying is that if we further have a breakdown of that structure, then that gives us more confirmation, more confidence that the selling momentum is very, very valid on the US tech. So a retest of that structure with confirmation on lower time frame should welcome addition to our existing position on the US tech. So this is my scenario here on the US tech. And where is our take profit target going to be? Well, I shared this with you yesterday, where I was telling you that we have two areas to look for our take profit target. Well, the first one is this bullish trend line we identified here on the higher time frame. Let's zoom out so that we can see that bullish trend line I was talking about. So we have this bullish trend line after connecting the series of higher lows here. We expect price to come into this bullish trend line, after which we are going to see how price is going to relate with the level. And then if we see a breakdown of that level, a retest of that level should give us opportunity to add more position to this trade. Then we'll be looking at the bearish trend line on the daily time frame as the final take profit target, which will be dovetailing to, let me see, a total of how many? That's around 550 pips in total on the US tech. So this is our scenario here on the US tech. So let's see what happens during the New York session. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to drop in a word or two in the comment section, and let's see what happens. So I'll be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to run through the charts to see if there are any questions whatsoever. Okay, Vince 123, you're welcome. You're new. Okay, glad to have you around. So we hope to see more of you in the next coming days. We normally start 10 a.m. UTC. So we come here to look at the financial market today together and make our speculation against the New York session on a daily basis. And if you have any pair you want us to look at, feel free to drop it in the comment section, and we shall try as much as possible to include it in our plan for the day. So welcome once again, Vince 123. Mark Jr., hi, how are you? Susie MB, hello. Okay, in the absence of no question, then let's move on to the next pair. So the next pair we looked at yesterday is the AUD USD. I'm not sure if Steamroller is in the house. Steamroller appears to be a fan of the AUD USD. So we are going to be looking at the AUD USD again. I actually took my profit yesterday. Price hit my take profit target on the AUD USD, and we are beginning to see that reversal possible reversal pattern happening around our zone. Now this is the AUD USD on the 4 hours time frame. So price it might take profit target at around the 0.69250 area. We can see right from this point into this area we had over 170 pips on this one, and I guess Steamroller took more than that as well. So right now let's delete this, let's delete this, let's delete this one, and let's see. So this key level here, which was the neckline of the reversal pattern, still appears to be still going to hold, and the reason why that is because if we finally see a move to the upside, we are going to be looking at that level to see how price is going to relate with that level. So let's go up a little to the daily time frame to actually see what is happening around this point. Then we could go back to the lower time frame to make our conclusions. So well, on the daily time frame, it is very obvious that price has been on a downturn since the early days of the month of April, and we were able to connect this series of lower highs to find a resultant bearish trend line. But something interesting happened during the later part of July stroke the early days of August. We saw a significant breakout of that trend line, that bearish trend line, with multiple rejection of that level to give us a clue of a momentum shift, as the breakout gives us a sign that the price action is no longer respecting that bearish trend line anymore. And we saw this breakout, this significant move during the early days of the month of August. We saw the breakout as soon as price tested the 0.71385 area. We saw a downturn, which to me looks more like a retracement phase of the previous impulse leg. And one thing that we also did was to look at the move that led into the breakout of that bearish trend line. That is this move. We were able to identify the higher lows and connect the series of higher lows to give us this bullish trend line. And during the course of the week, we were expecting that our bearish move will hit our take profit target around this area, which we've identified to be our buy zone. And why is this area our buy zone? Well, that's simple. We looked at this previous impulse leg here, and we saw this impulse leg, and after every impulse leg from a technical perspective, we expect price to do a retracement phase into our golden zone area, and our golden zone area is between the 50 and the 78.6% of the previous impulse leg. And if we run our Fibonacci retracement tool right through the previous impulse leg, at this point, what do we have? We have between the 6180 and the 78.6% as our golden zone area. So that is an area we want to be looking for buying opportunity. And look at what happened here in the last 24 hours. We've been seeing multiple rejection of this level at this point, giving us a clue into a possible reversal pattern that will push price to the next second phase of that impulse leg. So right now we want to scale down to a much lower time frame to actually see what structure we have on within that area, to see if it is time for us to actually take that move, or we still need to be patient to wait for further confirmation. So we scale down to, let's say, the 2 hours time frame most appropriate at this point. So we scale down to the 2 hours time frame, and what do we have here? If we look at the structure we have here, we can see that we have the first rejection of the 0.69130 area, the first one here, during the later part of the New York session here, and we saw price try to break down that level, but what it was met with was an engulfing candle that took price right back up into the buying zone that we identified. So right now, since we have the structure, you will agree with me, it looks more like a reversal pattern in the form of a double bottom structure. We can see we saw the impulsive move, price came into this area, we saw a rejection, and price came back one more time, then we saw price move to the upside again. So with this scenario here, it looks more like a double bottom structure to me. And what I want to be doing here, if we identify a double bottom or a double top structure, what we do is to identify the neckline. Right now we will be identifying the neckline, and what we're going to be doing is to bring out our line chart to have precise point of connection And what do we have here? We have it around the 0.694. I think around this area seems most appropriate. 69400 is just perfect for this. And if we look at the nature of that number, it's more or less a psychological level considering the round figure here. So the neckline is situated at the 0.69400. So let's see. All right, 69400. So that's, here we go. So we have 69400 area as our neckline for this reversal pattern. So what are we looking out for when we identify a reversal pattern like this? Well, you all know what we're expecting. We saw a reversal pattern, price rejected, our neckline came back again, and we're expecting price to do a breakout of that neckline. So we are waiting for this candle to close to see how price is going to relate with the neckline at 0.69400. So if we have a breakout of that neckline, what are we going to be looking forward to? So that is going to give us a signal that we are actually going to be buying the AUD USD. So we are good. Remember, we are not going to get too excited at the sight of a signal like this. We want to wait for price action to give us further confirmation in the form of a retest of structure. So we are going to be waiting for price action to come back and do the retest of the neckline at 0.69400, or probably come back as this area. But one thing we want to be seeing around this area is a reversal pattern on lower time frame, or a pattern or a structure that supports a trend continuation to the upside. So this is what we are going to be looking forward to on the AUD USD. Remember, it is time to be very, very patient at this point. We've made money on the AUD USD since the beginning of the week. We've made over 170 pips on this one, so we don't want to lose whatever we've earned on this just like that. So we need to see further confirmation in that regard. And one interesting thing about the structure we identify here on the AUD USD is that all this thing is happening right within the buy zone that we identify during the early days of this week. So what a coincidence anyway. But one thing we're going to be doing, we're not getting too excited, as remember, hold on a second, let me show you something here. Remember that we have a bullish trend line, and price actually broke that bullish trend line here. We saw the breakdown of that bullish trend line at this point. We saw the breakdown. We saw something that looks like a retest of this bullish trend line, and it appears something is doing like a retest this time around. So that is why we need further confirmation that we are actually going bullish on this one. So we want to see significant breakout, if possible a break back above of this bullish trend line, then a further confirmation, retest of structure, and if price breaks above one more time, retest it, we had more position to our existing trade. And where will our take profit target be? Well, for now, our take profit target is going to be around the 0.70950 area and the 0.7100 level. And why is that? Remember, during the early days of the week, we identified this reversal pattern here that looks more like a triple top structure, and we had a neckline at the 0.70905 that was broken to the downside. And what do we expect from a technical perspective? Whenever we see a breakout of any structure, we expect price to come back and do a retest of that level. So right now we are going to hope that price is going to come back to this level. So our take profit target will be within this area at this point. So let's see how price is going to relate with that level. Are we going to be having a breakout of that level to continue to the upside, or are we going to be seeing price do a reversal pattern right below this level for a trend continuation to the downside? So this is what we want to be looking forward to. So at this point in time, we should be having a take profit target within this area, which will be giving us around 150 pips to catch here, which doesn't seem bad at all. So this is what we're looking forward to on the AUD USD for the New York session today. So let's see what happens. If you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to drop a word or two in the comment section, and let's see how we could be of help in this regard. So I'll be taking the next 10 to 15 seconds to run through the charts to see if there are any questions whatsoever. Okay, 8097, good afternoon to you. 8097 says is new. Okay, okay, I think I read that chat before. Okay, okay, he said he or she is new here. That's great. I'm glad to have you around, and we hope to see more of you. What we do here is simply look at the charts together and make plans against the New York session on a daily basis. The time is 10 a.m. UTC every day. And if you have any pair you want us to look at, you can always feel free to drop a word or two in the comment section. So, Ramuna85, good morning. Munan01, good morning to you. 1118, hello, hi, how are you? Good morning. 559, good morning. Latifacel, I'm not sure I understand what that is. All right. So, I think in the absence of no question, unfortunately, I'm not seeing Steamroller in the house today. Okay, but it's okay. So let's see how this goes during the New York session, and then what I'll just implore us to do is that we'll be on standby to take advantage of that move. Remember, we are not getting too excited at the sight of a signal. We want to wait for further confirmation to join whatever momentum we have here. So let's move on to the next pair. The next pair we'll be deliberating on is what? Let me see that. The next pair is the USD Jpy. On the USD Jpy as well, I'm beginning to see traction of a selling momentum as well. I already have a position running. I'm not sure if this is going to hold anyways, but it's just half of my normal position size to see how price action is going to be moving. Well, the first thing we'll be doing here is to look at what is happening on the higher time frame, how we got to this point. We started this trade last week. We were able to take around 250 pips move here. We took this move to the downside during the course of last week trading session. This move, we took about 250 pips move from this point. And because of the current structure, we didn't take this buy momentum as we're expecting that price was probably this move is probably a retracement of that impulse leg where we were actually waiting for a reversal pattern within this golden zone area, and also especially below the bearish trend line to join the decline to the downside, but that did not happen as we saw a breakout of that bearish trend line during the course of yesterday. And I think during the FOMC this move happened, taking price out of that structure, and we have a breakout of that level. So at this point, this level is no longer relevant, this selling window, so we'll have to delete it at this point. And then let's look at what structure is giving us here. Now, if we look at the structure here, despite the fact that we have a bearish trend line and also we have a breakout of the structure during the course of yesterday's trading session, I'm still expecting a bearish move. And why is that? If you look at the structure we have here in the last couple of weeks, we can see that this level at around the 135 250 area and 135, is it 135 500 area has been a selling niche for participants in this market. You can see what happened here on the 7th of August, and we saw multiple rejection here on the between the 9th and the 10th of August, and right now price is right back at that zone. So one thing we want to be seeing here is we want to be patient to see how price is going to relate with this level. And from the look of things at this point, this area is more or less a very strong supply niche as it has been holding price action in the last 1 week. So what I'm expecting from this point is this. I'm still expecting the selling momentum to happen from here. So what are we looking at? We saw the first move, we saw the move into this area. As soon as price tested the 135 470 area, we saw rejection of this level. Price came back into this point, then price came back again one more time, but didn't go as far as the previous high, as it tested the 135.400, and we saw a sharp rejection and made this candle look more like a shooting star. So one thing I'm thinking here is this: will this area turn out to be a double top structure? Well, we don't know unless we have a breakdown of our neckline. So where is our neckline at this point? if we look left, we can see that we look at the structure here, our neckline appears to be around this area. So what I want to be doing at this point is to readjust the key level we placed at 134.650, which is the neckline of this reversal pattern here. I will show you this reversal pattern. We had a double top structure here as well, so we had a breakdown of that structure. So that is why we had that neckline around that point. So we want to readjust this neckline to suit the structure we are proposing to happen here. Remember, this is not yet a double top structure. As long as price is right below this level at 135.500, it will still remain. We're still going to be expecting a reversal pattern here. So I want to readjust this key level right now. So we are moving this right above so that it will suit in. So where is that going to be? So we have around the 134.800 area as 134.800. Let's relabel this. We have 134.800 level, which is going to be our next key level going forward. So once we have this right now, so one thing I'm going to be looking forward to is if price does a breakdown of this neckline, then that is the signal we are looking forward to. And remember, we are not getting too excited at the sight of a signal, as we want to wait for price action to come back and do a retest of structure to give us further confirmation that we are actually going bearish on this one. So we'll be waiting for price to do a retest of structure, probably on lower time frame. We look out for patterns on lower time frame that supports a trend continuation to the downside. And if we do have a breakdown of this bearish trend line, a retest should give us further confirmation to add more trade to this to our existing position on this one. So our take profit targets will definitely be on this bullish trend line at the moment, as we want to wait and see how price is going to relate with this level going forward. So we'll see how price relates with this level. If we further have a breakdown of that level, then we know we are still going further bearish. Then we could add more position at the retest of structure, and that area, with that area, we'll be looking at about how many pips that is. That's around the 200 pips at least to catch here if price moves as expected. So what we want to be doing is to remain patient and see if we are actually going to be having a breakdown of the key level at 134.800. Now, the other scenario that we could be looking forward to, and the reason why I'm trying to paint another scenario here is simply because we could plan for one scenario, and if price does not go as expected, then you will be stranded and don't know what to do. So I'm trying to paint as many scenarios as possible, so that whenever you're about making your individual decision, you are already with a prior knowledge of this scenario, so you know what to do. So at this point, if we don't have this scenario at this point and we see a sudden breakout of the supply zone here, that is, we see a significant breakout of this level, and that is, we see a engulfing candle taking out all the selling positions here, and price closing right above that level, then we want to be thinking of a bullish momentum here on the USDJPY. And remember, we are not going to get too excited at the sight of a signal, as we'll be waiting for price to come back and do a retest of structure. It could be around this area or this area, but most importantly, we're looking for structures that will support a trend continuation to the upside from that point. So these are the scenarios that is likely to happen, and let's be prepared to take advantage of whatever price action give us during the New York session. If you have any questions, feel free to drop a word or two in the comment section, and I will be willing to be of help. So let's take the next 10 to 15 seconds to run through the chart, see what is happening, and let's do the last pair for today. So let's see what's happening in the chart. Are there any questions whatsoever? Okay, I think there are none. Or let me take a moment and see. Okay, so at this point we'll just have to move on to the next pair, which is likely going to be the last pair we're going to be looking at for today. So the next pair we are going to be looking at is the XAUUSD. And on the gold, we've been profitable on the gold as price has continued to respect that bearish momentum we projected since the beginning, since on Tuesday or Wednesday. And if we go back to the scenarios we painted yesterday, we remember we had this move, and I told you yesterday that you should move your stop loss to above the $1,777 level if you had moved trainer. So we've been taking this move right from this point. We took this move right below the $1,785 level. We saw a breakdown, then a multiple retest of this level, so we took this move to the downside. So currently we're running with about how many pips in profit? Are about 1,500 pips in profit if you had not yet closed your position. But if you had closed your position, you will have had more than that. Probably you have taken your profit at around the $1,759 level. And one thing we shared yesterday was that this bearish trend line shall be our yardstick, as if we continue to see rejection of that bearish trend line, we want to be taking advantage of a trend continuation to the downside. So right now, with the current structure we have here, what do we intend doing during the New York session today? Well, the first thing we observe here is that we have a structure at around the $1,759 level, and that is here. You can see in the last 24 hours price has continued to reject this level, giving us a clue into a possible buying momentum from that point. So one thing I want to be doing first of all at this point is to recognize this level. Let's label it, identify it, so that we can always take this into consideration when we are planning to make our decision. So now we have this area as our demand zone. Hold on a second, let's place this right inside the box here. So we have a demand zone here. So now we are not sure if this is going to turn out to be a reversal pattern that is going to break out of this bearish trend line, where that will give us a signal that we are going bullish at this point. And remember, we are not getting too excited when this happens. We want to wait for further confirmation in the form of a retest of structure before we join the rally to the upside. So right now that we've identified this level, so we have two scenarios we are going to be looking forward to on the XAUUSD. Are we going to be having a trend continue? That is, if price comes back into this level, are we going to be having a reversal pattern here that will push price to the downside? That is one. Or the other scenario is, are we going to be having a breakout of the structure where a retest of the structure will give us confirmation to go upside? Now let's scale down to a lower time frame where we begin to see things more clearly. So right now on the 1 hour time frame, what do we have? On the 1 hour time frame, it looks more like a triple bottom structure here. You can see what I'm talking about here. It looks more like a triple bottom structure where we need to identify a neckline that will guide our action going forward. So for those who are still in this trade, well, what I'll be saying here is that you move your stop loss to somewhere at around below the $1,772 area. Right below that level will be most appropriate to move your stop loss so that you can lock in some profit, so that you don't get caught up in any sudden pull up. So that's going to be given around 1,200 pips. So going into the New York session now with this current structure we have here that looks more like a double bottom structure. Well, when we have a double bottom structure like this, we need to identify our neckline, the neckline of the structure. So to do that, we need to bring out our line chart so that we can have a specific point of connection. And then what do we have here? We have a neckline sitting right at around where? $1,767 area. So let's label this area. We have it at 1,700 and what did we call it the other time? 767 level. So let's place this one right at the top of for the sake of clarity. So we just place it right at the top right hand side of our screen. Good, beautiful. So we have something like this. So we have the 1767 level as our neckline area for this. I think it's between 1767 and 1765. So let's extend this a little bit. So between this area, 67, 65 area is the neckline of this. So right now, what do we have here? Very interesting. We have a breakout of the structure, giving us a clue into a bullish momentum on this one. Remember, we are not getting too excited at the sight of such signals. We want to wait for further confirmation in the form of a retest of structure. So what we're going to be looking forward to right now is that price should come back and do a retest of the structure, where we will be looking for patterns that support a trend continuation to the upside. And then if we have a trend continuation to the upside and price finally breaks out of the bearish trend line that we have here, then we look forward to another retest of structure to add more position to our existing trade. So at this point in time, our take profit target, where is it going to be? Well, if we look left, we can see that this area has been a demand niche for participants in the market. We have a structure right around the $1,785 level. So one thing I will be advising here, we don't want to be too over ambitious here. Let's wait to see how price action will relate with this level. So what that means is this: we want our take profit target to be around the $1,780 level and the $1,788 level, which will dovetail to, let's see how many pips that is. That's around 8,800 to about 2,000 pips to catch here if price moves as expected to the upside on this one. So that's the scenario we are looking forward to here on the XAUUSD. So let's see what happens on this one. Then the other possibility that we could be having here is this, which is very, very unlikely considering the current structure we have here. But let's take it into consideration so that when it happens, we don't get confused or get stranded by not knowing what to do at that point in time. So one thing I also want to share with you here is that let's see how price relates with this level 2. If we continue to see something that looks like a reversal pattern right below this level, then it's very, very likely that price is going to be respecting this bearish trend line one more time. Then we look out for patterns on lower time frame to join the decline with a take profit target in the meantime around the demand zone here, so that we see if it's going to break down this level, then the retest should give us further confirmation to add more position to our existing trade. So this is what we are going to be looking forward to on the XAUUSD for this day. So I think I made myself very clear on this one. If you have any question, feel free to ask, but I think this is going to be the last pay I'm going to be deliberating on today. Unfortunately, I will not be able to take the JPY card. So let's quickly run through the pairs we talked about today. A quick recap on the pairs we talked about today, and let's call it a day. So the first pair we deliberated on today was the USOil, where we were able to identify a reversal pattern around this point. Then we saw a breakout of that structure, giving us a signal that we are going bullish on this one. Then one thing we want to be doing is to wait for a retest of structure. Remember, we're still waiting for a retest of structure here to look for patterns on lower time frame that will support a trend continuation to the upside. And like I told you, our take profit target should be around the $92 and the $94 area in the meantime. And one thing I also told you was that if price comes within this bearish trend line here, let's lock in some profits, because we never can tell. Price could actually do a rejection of this level and go to the downside from here. Then we moved on to talk about the US tech, where we are still in profit on this one. And the first thing I told you to do here is to lock your profits and move your stop loss to break even at this point. And we were able to identify one more parameter to guide our action during the New York session, and that is the bearish trend line after connecting the series of lower high here. So one thing we want to be seeing here is this trend line and this key level will continue to guide our action. If price continues to rally below these levels, we remain comfortable in our selling position. But if we see a breakout of structure, then we know there is a momentum shift. A retest should give us further confirmation to join the rally to the upside on this one. So Take profit target on the US tech, I mentioned to you, well, the first area we want to be looking forward to is around this bullish trend line here, and the second one is right on this bearish trend line as our take profit target. Then we moved on to talk about the AUD USD, where we have already taken our profit on the AUD USD. We were profitable on this one. We took this move right from the neckline here right into this point, and we closed with over 170 pips here on the AUD USD. And right now, with the current structure we have here, remember we already have this buy zone identified during the early days of this week, and we are waiting. We already have a reversal pattern right now that looks more like a reversal pattern. We saw this rejection, and one thing I said is that we want to wait for price to break out of the structure, then a retest should give us further confirmation to join the rally to the upside. And with that scenario here, where will our take profit target be? Well, if we look left, we have a structure, we have a neckline here, and one thing I said is that we want to use this neckline area as our take profit target zone. Reason because we don't know how price action is going to relate with this level. Are we going to have a breakout of that level, or is price going to retest this level and probably do a trend continuation to the downside? So let's hold our take profit target here in the meantime, which dovetailed to about 150 pips on the AUD USD. Then we went on to talk on the USDJPY. On the USDJPY, I told you I'm already in this trade already with half of my normal position size. And the reason why that is simply because despite the fact that we had a breakout of this bearish trend line here, this structure at this moment still looks more bearish to me. And the reason why that is simply because if we look in the past here, we can see that we have a selling niche around this point. We have one around this area as well. And right now, price is right back in this area. And if you look at what has been happening in the last 24 hours on this one, we can see that we've already had multiple rejection of this level. The first rejection was here, price came back into this point, and then we saw the second rejection, which was unable to reach the previous high, giving us a clue to a possible reversal pattern. And I'm thinking that this structure here is likely going to evolve into a double top structure. And if it's going to evolve into a double top structure, the next thing we want to be doing is to identify a neckline that will give us the signal we are looking forward to. So if this turns out to be a double top structure, that is, if we don't have a break above of this level, if it turns out to be a double top structure, we want to wait for price to give us a breakdown of the neckline, which we have cited at around the 134,750 area. Then a retest of that level should give us further confirmation to join the decline to the downside. So like I said, we don't want to be too ambitious on this one simply because of this bullish trend line we were able to identify here, finding higher lows since on the 2nd of August. So one thing we want to see is how price is going to relate this level. So we want to be cautious. So we put our take profit target around the 133, 132 area in the meantime. And if we finally see a breakdown of that level, then we could be looking for further confirmation to add more position to our existing trade on this one. So this is what we are looking forward to on the USDJPY. Then we close the day with the gold. Now on the gold, we've been enjoying this move to the downside. Presently, I told you we took this move right from this point into this demand zone with over 2,000 pips there. And right now, what we notice since in the last 24 hours is that price action has been rejecting this demand zone at around the $1,760 level, which is giving us a clue of a possible reversal pattern. And if you look at the structure vividly, give me a moment, sorry, I'm trying to zoom this out a little bit so that we can see what I'm talking about. So if we look at the structure here, we can see multiple rejections of this level. We saw the first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. In fact, we had multiple rejection here, giving us a clue of how strong the buyers are at this point. So now that we have this something like a reversal pattern here, definitely the next thing we want to be doing is to identify a neckline of that pattern, and we were able to do that at around the $1,767 level. And what do we see here? We already saw an engulfing candle breaking out of that structure, giving us a signal that we are looking for. So what do we do now here? Patience is what is necessary at this point, as we want to see price do a retest of the structure, that is, give us price comes back into this area. But most importantly, we want to look out for patterns that support a trend continuation on lower time frame to join the rally to the upside. And like I said, if price breaks out of this bearish trend line, then a retest of this level should give us further confirmation to add more position to our existing trade. And where will our take profit target be on this one? At around the $1,785 level appears to be most appropriate at this point. So between the $1,784 and the $1,788, this seems most appropriate for our take profit target on this one, and that will be dovetailing to about a 2,000 pips to catch here if price moves in our direction. So this is what we are looking forward to on the XAUUSD. Then I also painted a scenario where if we see multiple rejection of this bearish trend line here, that is, we see a double top structure, a head and shoulder pattern, or whatever reversal pattern that you can see here, and price continues to reject that level, then we might be considering taking a selling momentum with a take profit target within the demand zone at around the 1,760 level. So at this point, I think we've made justice to this. We were able to treat about 5 pairs today, and let's see how this pairs is going to do in the next 24 hours. And we're definitely going to come back here tomorrow to take a quick look at what we have done so far and see how well this pair have been doing. On this note, I want to wish you a wonderful day, and once again I want to thank you guys for being around here. I really enjoy every moment with you guys, and so I look forward to seeing you tomorrow same time, 10 a.m. UTC, 11 a.m. West African time, same place, Extreme Speed Live. Let's come again, and if you tell your friends, download the Extreme Speed Live app so that they can join us and be part of this family as we take a look at the financial market against tomorrow's New York session. So on this note, I wish you best of luck during the New York session, and remember, do not get too excited at the sight of a signal. We want to wait for price action to always give us that confirmation in the form of a retest of our structure before we join the momentum. So thank you once again, and do have a wonderful day. Bye bye.